Do you ever lie down in bed and all of a sudden your brain feels like it's going a million miles a minute, as if you've turned on the washing machine and you've set it to stress spin cycle? Stay tuned. What we're going to do is we're going to stop that. So you're lying there and then all of a sudden you're thinking about your day. Oh, I should have sent that email, or else, that person's going to get upset because I promised them I was going to do it. Oh, I needed to speak to the boss about a couple things and then I just missed him at the last moment. I'm going to need to actually speak to him tomorrow. And it goes on and on and on. And it's just spinning around and around and around and you just can't stop it. The problem with this, and you already know this, is it causes a lot of anguish, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. You become overwhelmed and then one little thing can just send you over the edge. The reality is you actually don't need to do anything. The actual very statement suggests that you don't actually have a choice over the matter. For example, have you ever walked up to someone, let's say at work, you walk up to them, you say, how you going? Do you need any help with anything? And then all of a sudden they just react and you can clearly see they weren't doing too much and go, I'm just so under the pump. I'm just so busy. The reality is they actually are really busy because guess what? They've already begun that stress spin cycle in their own heads, and anything extra is just going to add to it. The good news is there's actually a really simple technique that can help with this. It doesn't happen overnight. It is something that's going to take a little bit of time, but I promise you, if you stay with it and you recognize when it's happening, you'll actually get a lot out of it. The very first thing is to recognize that, again, you don't have to or need to do anything. So what I mean by that is when you say I have to or need to, it's actually a very negative connotation. It's putting a lot of demands on you. So you personally are putting a lot of demands and saying, look, I need to do this. I have to do this. And then the second part to that is or else what means that, or else, someone's going to be unhappy. All of a sudden you start to enter the realm of predicting the future. Now, what if you're lying in bed and all of a sudden you're starting to do all of that, setting demands on yourself and telling the future? Now, what happens when you have 10 of those going around in your brain? I have to, I need to, or else, and just keeps going in a circle. Again, that stress spin cycle just continues and continues. And the exciting part is there is light at the end of the tunnel. You have been practicing saying I need to, I have to your whole life. So it's going to take a little bit of retraining the brain. Well, I do need to do things. Well, firstly, the definition of saying need is there is a hierarchy. You certainly do need to breathe to stay alive. You certainly do need to have water. Some things are definitely essential and important, and other things become desirable, and then they become a choice. And yes, you do have a choice. You don't need that chocolate bar, or you don't actually need that better job. You recognize that it's something that would benefit your life. So you don't need it, but you would like it, you desire it. So it becomes a choice. So let's say you were still worrying about some things at night and you're playing out various scenarios. I have to say it like this, otherwise I'm going to get this reaction from this particular person. I have to tippy toe around them sometimes, or I need to wait till they're in a good mood to approach it from this angle and say this because that might end up happening. And you play out all these scenarios, and again, it's going through this stress spin cycle at night and it's causing you a lot of grief and you can't get to sleep. You get to work, all of a sudden you realize, hey, that didn't play out like I thought it would. And that's happened to all of us. And all of a sudden you sat there predicting the future at night. So you've invested a lot of your energy on something that didn't even transpire. Decision based off facts as opposed to what might happen or predict the future. If you base it around facts today, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the track, and let's say it was the wrong decision. Someone said, why did you do that? I can guarantee it's a lot easier to explain. I made that decision actually just based on the facts at the time that I was presented. So the moment you've been waiting for, and it's actually so simple. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to replace I have to and I need to with I choose to, because I am, or because, and give reason to why. So how will that actually change anything? I have to is negative. I choose to is empowering. Let me explain. So I choose to takes ownership. It holds accountability. You are actually in control and it's up to you on the decision making. So I choose to do X because I am is actually motivational and it's empowering. I pick something random like stopping smoking because some people want to do that. That's one that probably people set a lot of demands on themselves. Now you might not be a smoker, so just impose something else. It could be exercise. I have to quit smoking or else I might die of a smoking related disease. So you're predicting the future. How do you know you're going to die of a smoking related disease? You actually don't. So you're already lying to yourself. You're setting that demand to yourself. Now, it's not to say you won't, or something might not bad happen, or it impacts your health. But all of a sudden, not only have you set all these demands on yourself, you set the demand that you need to, you have to, but then you're also predicting on what may or may not happen. And it just adds to the stress. Changing of the words or the sequence, we can say, I choose to quit smoking because I want to breathe a little easier. To listen out every time you start in your own mind, start saying, or even out loud, start saying, oh, I need to do that, or I have to do that, or else this, and this, and this is going to happen, or this and this may or may not happen. To, I'm choosing to go to the gym because I want to stay healthy. Choosing to go and have a conversation with someone because I want to learn the facts. It actually stops the spin cycle, because you can't say, I'm choosing to do X or else all these things are going to happen. No, because you're changing it to, I'm choosing to do this because of this, not because this may or may not happen. You will base it off facts every time. So it will take some time, and you will start to see it actually becomes quite comical after all, how many demands we actually set on ourselves. And the last part is actually one that you can tell yourself after you've done this. If you're still finding it a little bit challenging, you need to actually tell yourself that although it is the catalyst of why you're not sleeping, you actually need to tell your brain and say, hey, I've done everything I need to do. I made all the choices around the facts. I'm still thinking a lot of things, but brain, now I need to get some rest, because I need you to defrag the day. And literally, it's a computer. It's taken all the scenarios during the day. It needs to basically prioritize and reorganize. So I hope that it helps you. And if you've liked this video, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell icon, because I will be doing these videos weekly.